Assalamu alaikum. Today on Nuran Academy, we discuss the principles of Islamic environmental stewardship. If you benefit, please support by subscribing and sharing as a sadaqah jariyah.
All right, let's dive in. I want you to picture something with me. Go back in time to the Islamic Golden Era. You've got commerce just booming. Workshops are buzzing with new ideas, and right at the center of it all, the rivers. They were the lifeblood of everything.
But here's the thing. In the Islamic worldview, a river wasn't just, well, a resource. It wasn't something you could just use up and then forget about. No, it was seen as something much, much deeper. It was a sacred trust, an amanah from Allah, subhanahu wa ta'ala. A gift given to us, yes, but one we're also meant to protect.
So, in this explainer, we're going to unpack this whole idea through a story. It's a story that brings 5 key principles to life: the trust of creation, then accountability beyond law, the integrity of work, the fruit of patience, and we'll wrap up with what it means to be guardians of our world.
Okay, first up, the trust of creation. This is all about the principle of amanah. And really, this is the foundation for everything else. It's the sacred trust that shapes our entire relationship with the world around us.
So let's meet our main character, a man named Yasin. Picture this. He's got a thriving dyeing workshop right on the riverbank. And that river, it's everything to his business. It powers his wheels, it cools down his vats, and yeah, it also conveniently carries away all the waste. Business is good. So good, in fact, that demand for his cloth has just doubled.
Now, with that kind of rapid growth, you know what comes next, right? Pressure. He's got to keep up. And his advisors? Well, they have a simple idea. Just dump the waste straight into the river, they say. The current will handle it. And right there, that's the classic conflict, isn't it? Convenience versus conscience.
And this is exactly where that principle of amanah becomes crystal clear. See, amanah teaches us that we don't own the world. We're just its guardians, its stewards. Everything, the river, the air, all of it, is a trust. So for Yasin, this wasn't just about business. It was a test of his commitment to that sacred duty. That feeling of being a guardian, that naturally leads us right into our second principle, muhasabah. Now, this is all about accountability, but we're not just talking about laws and regulations here. This is something much, much deeper. So, what does Yasin do? He doesn't pull out his account books to figure out the cost. No. He goes for a walk. He literally walks downstream to see the real cost of his business, the kind of cost you'll never find on a balance sheet. And what he finds? It's sobering. He sees fishermen trying to fix nets that have been torn up by his waste. He sees kids who used to splash around in the water now staying far away from it. He even sees the plants on the riverbank starting to fade and die. And here's the most important part. Nobody was forcing him to look. There was no law, no inspector, no fine hanging over his head. This accountability, it was coming from within.
And that is the very heart of muhasabah. It's this process of checking yourself, of auditing your own actions, knowing that your final account isn't with some government agency. It's with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's an accountability that comes before any man-made law, and it goes way beyond it.
So now, with this understanding, Yasin knows he can't just stand by. He has to do something. And that brings us to our third principle, ihsan. This is the idea of excellence, of doing things with beauty and total integrity, as if you can actually see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala watching you.
And you know what? He chooses the harder path. He starts investing in natural dyes, which are way more expensive than the harsh chemicals. He actually builds settling pools to filter the water before it goes back into the river. And of course, what happens? Everything slows down, it gets more expensive, his output goes down, and you can bet his partners were not happy about it.
But when they objected, Yasin's response was just incredibly profound. He told them, if my success dirties what others depend on, it is not success, it is theft. Wow. I mean, with that one sentence, he completely reframes what success even means. It's not just about profit anymore. It's about not stealing the well-being of the community and the environment. That, right there, is ihsan in action. But taking a stand like that, well, it's not easy. It has immediate consequences. And that's where our fourth principle, sabr, or patience, becomes absolutely essential. Doing the right thing often means you've got to have the strength to get through some tough times. I mean, think about what he was up against in the short term. His competitors, they kept polluting, so their prices were lower.
He lost customers. His costs shot up. From a business perspective, it looked like a disaster. But he was patient. And in the long run, everything changed. The river started to clear up, the fish came back, and it turns out the natural dyes he was using, they made his cloth even better. And before long, a whole new kind of customer started showing up. People who were looking for that ethical quality.
So here's the lesson, right? The very thing that seemed like a huge disadvantage at first, it ended up becoming his greatest strength. It's what made him unique. Ethics, when you combine it with that steadfastness of sabr, can become your most sustainable advantage.
And that leads us perfectly into our final principle, the one that really ties all of this together. We're going to look at the ultimate takeaway from Yasin's journey, what it really means to be guardians of our world.
So fast forward a few years, Yasin's business is a real success story, and it catches the eye of a big investor. The offer is huge, tons of money to expand, build more workshops, the whole shebang. But there's a catch. Just one condition. He has to relax his environmental rules, just temporarily, to boost profits.
Yasin turns him down flat. And in his journal, he writes down this simple but powerful insight. Temporary harm creates permanent damage. He just knew that these kinds of small compromises, they're almost never really temporary. And they leave permanent scars on the world that we all depend on.
And that really is the final lesson here. True success, when you look at it from an Islamic perspective, it's not just about the numbers on a spreadsheet. It's defined by guardianship. It's about making sure your work is in harmony with the world, that you're protecting the resources we all share, not just using them up.
So this leaves us with a pretty big question for ourselves, doesn't it? In our own lives, in our own jobs, when that pressure to grow, to make more money, starts to threaten the resources we all depend on, our water, our air, our communities, what do? Do we protect the profit margin for today, or do we protect the very thing and it sustains us all for tomorrow?
Presented and created by Neuron Studio.